Hi, guys, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Grain Gauntlet. As always, we will be answering 5 grain market related questions that are coming from our current clients as well as potential prospects. My name's Kayla, Sales and Marketing Director. This is Josh. You ready to get started?
Yeah, it's odd being in this spot. It's my first time answering the questions, but I'm ready to go.
Good change of pace.
Yeah.
All right. First question is crop ratings keep declining, but so do prices. When does this market turn around?
Okay. Well, there's definitely, I'd say, signs that we might have been hitting that point last week. Funds for the first time in a while were starting to liquidate their shorts. I think what we were doing is we were accounting for those crop ratings, and that our ratings had been falling for well over a month now. Consecutive reports where both corn and bean ratings were dropping. I think the funds were starting to factor in the lower yields. And then we get hit by a couple new things. People are still worried about China, what's happening there, progress with Trump and China. I think people wanted more from Friday's conversation between Trump and Xi. And then now we have Argentina lowering their export tax. And that was one of the few advantages we had was we were, the lowest prices. We still had a pretty good advantage with soybeans. Immediately, China starts buying more soybeans from Argentina. I think they're now filled through November, and that set the market back a little further. And then, of course, we still, we have potential harvest pressure yet to come. So it looks like, prices may be falling for a little while yet, when it might have had a repeat of last year where the funds, once they start to liquidate those short positions, to just gradually goes on to the end of the year. That's kind of on hold right now, so it could be a little while longer yet.
Okay. All right. Next question. Are you disappointed with the result of trade deals this far?
I have to admit, I back the logic behind doing what the Trump administration has been doing. We have massive trade imbalances that need to be corrected. If nothing was done about it, these countries have been actively trying for years and decades to be less dependent on us, buy from other places. Trade imbalance was way out of whack, and so you respect what was attempted to be done, and use tariffs to get better trade deals and bring in trade equity. The problem is, and where my disappointment rests, is the fact that the deals that are getting done, the commitments that are being agreed to, signed, put on paper, are in many cases less than what these countries were already buying from us. The Ag Secretary Rollins the past week promoted the deal with Taiwan, calling it a game changer, talked about $10 billion of export commitments over the next 5 years. Problem with that is Taiwan, without any trade agreement, purchased $3.8 billion from us last year. So, $10 billion over 5 years is $2 billion a year. That would actually be a decrease from what they did without any kind of agreement. It doesn't mean that the purchases won't increase, but it just shows that there's not a lot of teeth to the agreement so far. And that's been the case with almost all of them to date. And then obviously you've got no deal with China yet. So it has been disappointing, and something we're watching.
Yeah. All right. It seems like there are fewer and fewer opportunities to make good sales. Is that the new norm now?
This isn't gonna be fun to hear, and it's definitely not something we're all in total agreement on yet, or it's set in stone. But to me, I think so. I think the biggest reason for that is things we could set our clock to. I know I've talked to a lot of farmers that have pretty much counted on a summer rally every year, and summer rallies used to come just from the threat of a sustained period of hot and dry weather. It didn't have to be an actual drought. It didn't even have to be a massive change in the drought monitor. But as soon as we get a 2-week forecast of hot without rain, it would be enough to scare the markets, drive a rally, give you guys a selling opportunity. At the point when you know what you've got, and it was a lot easier to make that sale. We often get better sale opportunities in the beginning of the year before even planting. If we become a smaller part of the overall puzzle, which we are. We're not really adding acres here in the US, but the rest of the world is. Every passing year, we become a smaller part of the equation. And thus, what happens here doesn't have quite as big of impact. We need things to happen in South America and here, and disruptions elsewhere around the world for prices to change dramatically. A simple weather scare here isn't enough. And what that means is you've got, the rallies now occur at the times when you guys are least likely to sell, and that's kind of goes hand in hand. It's when you guys aren't selling, then we get a little bit of price bump. But that means, you'd have to price a real hefty amount of your crop before you even put it in the ground. No one's going to do that. So that's becoming the challenge going forward. We can't count on a summer rally on simply a weather scare. We need a real weather issue, either of great significance here or weather issue here that's smaller, but maybe an issue in South America as well. And without that, then some of the rallies that you guys used to count on to make your sales just aren't going to be there. And that means fewer opportunities throughout the year, unfortunately.
And I think it's a really good point, too, that we're covering this question, because even this morning having those calls, and we're still looking at holding everything till February to July. So that was a great question. Okay. Did this slide just make it easier to initiate a buyback?
Yes, that's one of the things we've talked about this. We've talked about when the market's just sitting in these narrow ranges, and you get frustrated waiting. It's almost would be better off if the market just dropped a hefty amount, gave us a very clear buyback opportunity. And that's kind of what's happened with soybeans here in the past few days. Not so much corn. Corn is still stuck in that 420 to 430 range. We can't assume, though, that we're past the downturn with corn, because we still potentially might have that harvest pressure. But soybeans spell enough that we're getting really close to buyback territory. Now we got to wait and see where it goes, because right now soybeans are kind of in no man's land. Where is it going to settle in? Is it going to find new support? Is it going to come back up to where we were? But it's definitely giving us that potential for a buyback. And that's one of the, I guess, few bright spots of what's taken place here in the past week or so.
Okay, last question, and this one is from our potential prospect. It is, what is the difference between platinum and complete? I'm still trying to decide which to go forward with.
Okay, yeah, we put this one in there because it's kind of a variation of the question we get all the time, both you and I. And, there's pluses and minuses to both programs. We introduce platinum because there's aspects of the complete that are, it takes time to get used to. Complete has a lot more flexibility. Complete is a lot more hands-on. A great example would be let's say someone has to make a sale that's not necessarily on schedule with when we make one. With Complete, you can jump into the market right away and start protecting or initiating a buyback or protecting unsold crop from day one. Platinum, while the positive of that is fixed risk, I think everyone knows the drawbacks of that. We got to time it just right. We're doing obvious buybacks, protecting unsold crop, but you've got to overcome the cost of the option itself. So we could do spread positions that are fixed risk still with platinum to help, just ensure that you're not kind of in a hole, so to speak, from the cost of an option by selling one. But then now your upside is limited. As soon as you sell a call, now the max you can make on the position is limited. So it's really, it's a balancing act between risk tolerance, the amount of positions you want to have on. All these factors go in it. Complete is going to be, like I said, a lot more hands-on. But there's different costs of the both programs to differentiate them enough. And like I said, I think it's we've got something for everybody. But I think a natural progression is for people to come on board potentially, unless they're in really a dire position and need a lot of assistance right away. That's Complete. But if they just want to get started with us, a natural progression would be to come on board with platinum, build that trust with us, and then see how we operate, and then advance to complete at a later time.
Yeah. And I think too, another piece just to add with either one, you're still running a partnership with us. We're still there to gain trust. So I think if you have questions, just continue to give us calls and let us know when they are so we can kind of help ease that. But that's it for this week's edition. So I appreciate you guys joining in. And of course, if you have questions and you would like us to go through them, you can email us at admins@thehedge-plus.com.
That's right. And Pat will be back in this seat next week, so we look forward to that. Have a great week, everybody, and good luck with harvest.
Thanks, guys.